What's going on, boxing fans? Julian Williams with the Distance Fantasy matchup today. Evander Holyfield versus Sonny Liston. I almost said Floyd Patterson because he's a fighter I'm going to mention in the video. But Sonny Liston versus Evander Holyfield, heavyweight champion versus heavyweight champion. How does this fight play out? Sonny Liston was pretty much, he was a big fighter. He had very long reach. I think a reach of like 85, and had pretty good knockout power. And he won the championship against pretty much the man who's supposed to become the next heavyweight icon, who's Floyd Patterson. Floyd Patterson, as we all know, pretty much stepped in to fill the void when Rocky Marciano retired in like 1956, and Floyd Patterson won the championship, and took on a lot of really good fighters along the way. And he got into that trilogy with Johansson. And me, in my personal opinion, I do think that trilogies take so much out of fighters. Trilogies take a lot out of fighters. And I think that the trilogy with Johansson took a lot out of Floyd Patterson. And that's not to undermine the victory or the loss to Sonny Liston. But I think that trilogies take a lot out of fighters because of the way that they were fought and the way that this trilogy was fought with Johansson. There's no doubt in my mind that not necessarily years, but a lot of strength and energy was taken out of Floyd Patterson pretty much due to the pace that both of these two have fought. Multiple knockdowns, multiple power shots, and other than that, both of them pretty much trying to out hustle each other, and both of them fighting at kind of a fast pace for a heavyweight fight. And so Sonny Liston came in 1960. Knocked out Floyd Patterson in the first round twice, and Sonny Liston was probably one of the most devastating punches in all of boxing history. So Sonny Liston went on, he fought, for a few years and ended up losing to Muhammad Ali. But Sonny Liston, had a really good left jab, very good, very long left jab, and he not necessarily did he set up his knockouts with it, but sometimes he could. I do think that Sonny Liston had the power to knock out an opponent with a jab. I think he had the power. I think he had the reach to keep fighters at the end of the jab. But he didn't really utilize that to his advantage as much as he should have. But he did use the left jab quite a bit and quite often. But like I said, he didn't utilize it the right way or utilize the reach and the size the way he should have. He did use the size and use his reach very well, but I think he could have used them much better. Evander Holyfield, I'm going to say four-time heavyweight champion because I really don't count the WBF to count as a fifth time. And if he was a five-time champion, then why didn't we count the USBA championship that he won in 2005 or 2006 against Freza Kendo? But why don't we count that? So necessarily he would be a sixth time. But Evander Holyfield pretty much took on everybody, never ducked anybody. Took on Riddick Bowe, and pretty much had a lot taken out of him in that trilogy. That's another example of trilogies taking a lot out of a fighter. Fought Michael Moore, fought Burt Cooper, and won the championship when he defeated James Buster Douglas. It was Buster Douglas' first defense after he defeated Mike Tyson. So that's something else that it's important with Holyfield. He took on the guy that beat the man, who was Mike Tyson, and won all the championships. Took on fought for a while, fought Riddick Bowe in the trilogy, fought Michael Moore. I think he kind of left for a while, and I think he fought Bowe again, and then he fought Mercer, and then after that, he just continued fighting really good fights. And pretty much he almost in his prime, defeated every fighter that he faced. That was an almost. Until he fought Lennox Lewis. But my personal opinion, I thought he should have retired after the second fight with Tyson. That's just my opinion. But anyway, on to the fight. I'm talking about the historical stuff, but honestly, in this fight, I do see it being more of a boxing match than a possible brawl. And as well, for some reason, I do see it playing out similar to the way that Bo Holyfield played out. Or I'd say I'd say the first match played out. You know, I'm not going to say second match because I thought Bo would have won if Fan Man didn't come flying down the ring. But I do see Evander Holyfield working his way into the inside. And Holyfield, you know, pretty much, you know, did a good job of when he got on the inside of outworking you with hooks. And he knew how to outwork you with the hook. But sometimes that was the only shot that he threw on the inside. And due to the fact that it was the only shot that he threw on the inside, it made him very susceptible to the uppercut. And the uppercut was the shot that, you know, that would put him down at times. It would be the beginning shot that would put him down because you don't see an uppercut coming. And if you can't defend yourself from an uppercut, then, you know, it could be lights out. You know, unless you have, you know, one of the best chins in the world. You know, unless you have like a Jake LaMotta granite chin. And I just see it being pretty much a middle of the ring fight. But at the same time, you could, with the interchangeability of Evander Holyfield's style, the way that he fought against Valuev, you know, possibly, you know, he could fight this fight that same exact way, being on the toes, you know, kind of coming in for a shot, coming right out, and just staying on his toes the entire fight. But the only problem is, how would the judges see that? You know, if Sonny Liston with his style, who's a big puncher, could, you know, could pretty much throw the big knockout blow, you know, how would the judges see that? You know, see Holyfield dancing around the ring, staying on his toes and boxing pretty much a smart technical fight. And Liston, who pretty much, you know, throws a mean ass punch, you know, and has the ability to pretty much knock out almost anybody. One of the hardest punches of all time. You know, how does he catch Evander Holyfield? And I think that Sonny Liston is a hell of a lot smarter than Nikolai Valuev. And me personally, I'm gonna go with Sonny Liston in this fight. I'll tell you why I think Sonny Liston could win this fight. I think being the bigger fighter, I think being the bigger fighter, he has the ability to keep Evander Holyfield at the end of that jab and not let Evander Holyfield outwork him. And on top of that, if he can catch him with one or two uppercuts on the inside, that takes Evander Holyfield out of the inside. And other than that, you know, if he could time Evander Holyfield coming from the outside, then it's going to make Evander Holyfield a bit wary of coming in. So, and on top of that, you know, Evander Holyfield, as I mentioned, has that interchangeability and can adapt, and he can pretty much change the style up in all of his fights. And against the Sonny Liston, who's a big-time devastating puncher, you know, packed on, you know, he had, and this is the thing, he had a really good right hand. He had a good right hand, you know, but my problem with Liston though was possibly the footwork. And I think that Holyfield has the superior footwork, but I think that Liston could possibly time him coming in and probably get a majority or split decision. But anyway, that was the distance. Thanks for watching. Peace.